myself a choice, but yeah.
Your subscribers.
That was a tough one. I mean, and in years past,
No,
I
I know
thought,
it's not.
like,
You know.
you're going to football that way now. But,
What if football goes on or not?
I mean, they maybe would like if they'd been 9-0 or something.
Yeah.
I'll call. Or wait, is he there with y'all?
So Colin will be there, then I'll be.
Oh, yes.
I'll watch the game in the hotel. Like,
Yeah.
we'll still be like working on following each week out and stuff. So
Shelby.
that's by far my least favorite trip because of driving the 2 hours
Yeah.
there afterwards. It's just
Yeah. Discord.
last year for basketball. Yeah, well, it's fun. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And so it's like the perfect one. These guys at 4 o'clock. Got there at 5:30. Got to be in the hour for the game. Perfect. We did the show and sat home by like 12:30. It was perfect. So that's the way I was doing it.
Did the team try to
They did, but there's not really trouble. They got the way to play basketball, so problem with the plane, so we even back like 2 hours. Because I remember Cody ended up getting an extra, because he went there and he was going to fight out with the team, but never played against him. So it was like me and Matt Bauer should be on board.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
And they have, there's a Ridley's in there. Actually, Ridley's like a official sponsor. So we went and checked out the store.
Yeah, this is a little back there.
Yeah, we're sure. Yeah. So then they took it out. That was the night that all the rumors started coming about Person again.
Oh, yeah.
That was the same
That
night.
was
So we're all
such a
like in the car
wild-
looking at that on the way there. We're like talking about it.
Oh, wow, it's such a time.
Yeah. I like the look.
That's cool. I like the colors on it.
How you guys doing? Just grinding. We ready to roll, Craig?
Hurry up. We're starting.
Can you drop yours down at all?
Good.
Tiny bit more. All right, here we go. I think we got everybody now. Go ahead and fire away. What do you got for us today, Mike?
No opening statement, huh?
No.
The evolution of this offense, what Dirk Koetter and Taylen Green did on Saturday night. We've all had a chance to say what we thought. What did you see, and how did it evolve?
Well, I mean, obviously Taylen had a huge game, did a phenomenal job running the ball and handling his responsibilities within the reads. And there's still more out there that we can continue to grow on. That's the biggest thing. You know, there's obviously plenty of things on the film that we can keep working to build on. But Taylen obviously did a nice job running it, and coach and the offensive staff recognized some things there at halftime that we can work off of. And you know, they did a really nice job there in the second half. The players, the O-line played really well. You know, they're able to handle the box and all the different looks we were getting, and it helps too when the quarterback and is able to create some number issues on the perimeter. And so that's when the offense comes together, and you know, the backfield and the quarterback are helping the O-line, and obviously the O-line's doing a lot of work for the inside run game that allowed George and Ashton to have some explosive runs. We had 15 explosive plays on offense. Now, again, that's only 1 week. We got a lot of work to do this week to prepare for the opponent that we're going to face.
As much
much detail as you feel comfortable doing. Can you take us through that conversation at halftime? Was it a 15-second conversation, a 5-minute conversation? Just you and Taylen and Dirk and just
No, well, I mean, it always starts off with the coaches first, and typically it's about 5 minutes, you know, just with the amount of time you get during halftime and stuff. You know, it's really our coaching staff in general. I mean, Nate Potter has a lot to do with the run game and the design of the run game and the looks and the organization throughout the course of the week. Obviously, Coach Koetter's calling the plays, and so it was awesome to see them in there at halftime working together to bring the information to the table based off of what happened in the first half and the looks and the certain things that we wanted to get to. And you know, then it's a matter of going into the locker room then and getting with the guys and being able to explain and build the confidence into them as what the plan's going to be going into the second half and how we're going to be able to start fast. And it was just a really good job overall by the coaching staff, by the offensive coaching staff, and the players executing the plan. At the end of the day, it's the players on the field. And, you know, the one thing I would say, too, is there are some really good blocks by the wide receivers downfield that actually sprung, whether it be Ashton, George, Taylen, Free. And there were some things, too, within the passing game that, you know, we're going to be able to continue to improve on with the wide receivers. And we're excited about, you know, what the run game opens up and some of those things as well.
Some unknown going into that game from like the San Diego State side. What was Dirk going to do? How was Taylen going to fit in? Now that there's a full game and particularly the second half on tape for teams moving forward like a Fresno State, what's the challenge like for you guys to keep evolving this and add your wrinkles and things like that? Yeah,
and you mean coming out of the first week, again, there was plenty of things within the game plan that we didn't even get to because of what we stayed with in the second half. And that's why every week is a new week. You know, what happened last week was last week. We learned from the good, we learned from the bad, and everywhere in between. And how do we apply that and grow forward? That's college football. That's every single week. You have to be able to do that. And that's, you know, the coaches putting a plan together, the players studying it, the players understanding their opponents. Obviously, that's all of us doing that together because the process matters every single week. You've got to be able to grow off the things that you did the week before.
Installs, but like what did it take from the players to learn as much as they did about what you guys wanted to do on offense in that 6-7 day span last week?
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not like there wasn't a ton of new stuff, you know. And obviously, you guys get to talk to Coach today. There's, you know, there is some new terminology. There's a few new concepts that are exciting for the quarterbacks within the passing game to have. Easy progressions, easy reads, and to be able to execute those things. Now it's just going to take us time. It's not going to happen overnight, right? It takes time at repping these things like we're talking about. We're talking about the DNA plays that go in each week that may have a different pre-snap look, but you can't change up what you're doing every single week. It's about doing it better and changing up the pre-snap looks. I mean, that's football. The good teams, you know, do things really consistently and do them well week in and week out.
We saw a lot of success with the read option. Was that one of those new things that was in this week? Or?
No, it's been in. We just obviously hadn't got to it, so we just haven't seen it. Even last year, we'd used a little bit of it, but given the nature of our personnel, you know, just, you know what, allowing guys to be in the position that they do things that they do well. And, you know, what does that do then? What does that do to the box? You know, teams can't, you know, it makes teams adjust their numbers, whether it's the numbers in the box, the numbers on the perimeter, the coverages they're playing, and all those things. And so, you know, that still puts a lot of work out in front of us because now we got to stay ahead of that stuff. And, you know, like we were talking about a second ago, how do we build on top of what we did? You know, what's coming next, and what are the things that we're gonna have to do within this plan and that we create throughout the week to allow us to be successful.
You mentioned how explosive the running game was. How much of a catalyst can that be for you guys, and how much can you lean on that three-headed monster in the backfield?
Well, I mean, there's no secret to it. Championship teams can run the football. I mean, you look at the teams that have been successful in this conference, you look at the teams that have been successful in college football, and even, you know, to a certain extent there, obviously in the NFL. You can run the football. You can stop the run. You can be efficient. You can be explosive down the field. So having those guys back there, having Ashton, even T. Crow jumped back there and did a nice job back there in the backfield this last week as well. Having those guys be able to, and it starts with the O-line, right? Because they're not doing what they're doing interiorly without those guys. They played really, really well, and I think that should go noted as well.
Dirk, what did you see from him last week? Jumping in full go, and only had a week to get ready for a game. Just what were your thoughts on seeing him throughout the week and then coaching in the game, obviously?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it was obviously a lot of work for him. There's a ton that goes into this, and he, his role was not anything near what it was this past week, but he's done this a while, so he was able to jump back in and lead and lead in a real way. Be real with the players, be honest with them about the things that we got to be accountable to, the things that we got to be better at, so that we can play more efficiently. We can play more consistently on all levels of the offense. And, then again, it takes time. There's a lot of things we got to get better at. It takes time to implement those things, to build the confidence, to work it in the meeting room, to show it, to teach it, and then obviously to take it to the field. And so the biggest thing this week, for all of us is just not only on offense, but, on defense and special teams, how do we move forward? How do we grow forward and build off of what we are able to do?
We've talked a lot about Taylen's physical abilities. A lot's been thrown at him the last 10 days. What kind of a sponge does he have upstairs in terms of being able to absorb all this and take it out on the field on a Friday or Saturday night?
Yeah, he's, I think the biggest thing is, again, he's had a plan. He's had a plan. He's been in the plan, throughout the course of the season here. He's just got his opportunity. And it was awesome for him to be able to take advantage of his opportunity. As we all know, and I've said it already, there's plenty of things that we've got to continue to grow on. And he will, because he cares, he's excited, he wants to do well for his team. Obviously the guys love him. He brings an excitement to our team. And we all just got to keep growing forward and helping him and creating a plan and putting our best foot forward to help him.
What do you see from Sam, and what's his role moving forward?
Yeah, Sam's always going to be a part of the plan too. Like, Sam deserves a role. Sam has done a really nice job. Now that's a guy right there where his reps increased tremendously last week, and to see the energy in him and to be able to see him jump in there and get a lot more in practice and obviously get into the game, which was part of the plan and it will be going forward. Was really excited for him. He's got a tremendous arm. He's extremely bright. And he can run around too.
Looking at Saturday with Fresno State, it looks like they're kind of in a similar position. We were last week, tough non-conference loss, now starting their conference season. What do you make of what they're bringing to the table?
Every week's a new week, and they got tremendous players. Obviously everyone knows Jake got hurt, but if you look at Logan's throwing the ball for 79%. And he jumped in there against USC, did well. And this last week, you're dealing with some weather conditions for both teams and all that stuff. Logan can play, and they got tremendous wide receivers. Every week is a new week. They got great coaches. They got guys that are experienced. Okay, this is going to be a tremendous challenge. And that's the way we're approaching it, and we obviously know that's the way they're gonna be their best when they show up here.
How well have you gotten to know Kirby more over the years, and what's it like for you facing a member of the Brotherhood this weekend?
Yeah, it's obviously knowing Kirby and being around him and all those things, and knowing his family and all that stuff. It's when you're in this game long enough in this business, you come across that quite often. You know a lot of the opposing coaches and things like that, and have respect for them and all those things. And my hat's off to Kirby. He's a young coach that's done a tremendous job, obviously getting himself to the point where he is as an offense coordinator at this point in his career.
You talked a lot about mentality and stuff this season. On Ashton's touchdown run, OJ pancakes a 3-time All-Mountain West defensive end, and Tiny Seals, arguably the best linebacker in the Mountain West. And Ashton makes a really nice move on a really talented safety. How much did that play kind of embody what you wanted to see when it comes to mentality?
It starts right with the confidence and building that, and that's where, through the course of last week, and we're going to have to do it better this week. Through the course of last week, that just kept building. You can feel it inside. Obviously, we didn't start as fast as we wanted to in the first half last week, but that didn't just start in the second half. The guys, they worked at it. They were committed last week. And for those guys to be able to play the way they did, the way the tight ends blocked last week, we got to do it even better this week. You know, the O-line, that was by far their best game. We got to build off of that and do it better because the opponent we're playing is going to require that. So to build that confidence and play with that certain mentality is awesome for those guys. I was so excited for them to see so that they can see what they're capable of, who they're capable of being as individuals, as players, but more importantly, what that individual play of everybody doing their job brings to the team.
Talk about that belief, like a guy like Taylen. I mean, it's one thing to do in practice, as we've known this season. It's another thing to do in the game. How much more confidence is he operating with right now that he's put together 6 pretty darn good quarters?
Yeah, you know, again, he will tell you with a smile on his face. He's like, "Yep, I'm going to keep going. I got a lot more to learn." You know, and every time he steps out there, he's going to get an opportunity to get better. He's going to get an opportunity to learn, and obviously in practice first, and then with his opportunities, how he grows each week, and when he steps in there, and the same for Sam, right? Those guys are both young. You know, there's always something to be said about the veteran players because they have the experience, right? And how we gain that experience is the most vital thing, again, whether it's from the things we did well and how can we do them better, the things we didn't do well, and everywhere in between.
I didn't ask you after the game. Obviously, we're focused on the game, but you're 4-year senior and starting quarterback decides to transfer in the middle of the season. What was the reaction like around?
Yeah, we're moving forward. Sorry, BJ, but we're moving forward, man. This week's this week.
Andy, DJ Schramm, Defensive Player of the Week. You obviously know the position.
Yeah.
He's playing at an all-league caliber level. What is this season he's having surprising you? I mean, why is he having such a good season?
Well, he had a really good offseason. You know, he got his body prepared. He got his body in shape, and it's the family business for him, right? His father's been a college football coach, and so he's an extremely bright football player. He's a bright individual, as it is, and he's been really, really productive this year because of the preparation that he's put in. We spoke about it early on coming out of fall camp. He had a really, really good fall camp and did some things that now that everyone else is getting to see. Why did he win the will linebacker position? We can all see it now. But the thing about DJ that is, you know, as good as any player that I've been around in a long time is his consistency and how he prepares, how he shows up every day. And he's got an unbelievable personality on top of it. He has a way of making fun out of the hardest work there is, and that's a talent right there that a lot of people don't have.
You mentioned you thought the offensive line had their best game of the season. What do you think went into that? Is that just the offense getting in a rhythm where you can run the ball, and those guys get comfortable, or was it more of a scheme thing?
It's a combination of things. I think it's a combination. Number one, to get in rhythm takes great confidence in knowing what you're doing so that you can play fast. You can play with your feet in the ground. You can play with great eyes. You can play with your feet in the ground, and you can play with some violent hands. And at the end of the day, okay, it's everybody. It takes everybody to play well. Okay, it takes everybody for the quarterback to play well, including us as coaches. It takes everybody for the O-line to play well. You know, on the shot to Billy, the one we took over the top early there. I mean, let's be honest, that was a clean pocket. That's what we've been looking to improve upon. And Sam was able to, you know, step up in that pocket and let that thing go. And those were the little things we got to continue to build up. Now we blew 2 other protections, you know, that we've got to get better at. But that's not the O-line. It's not just them. You know, there's certain the protection's getting set by somebody. There's not just the O-line in protection like we've talked about. It's everybody coming together. But I would say this, you know, when you add that quarterback run number into the run game, like you guys hear me talk about, if we got to defend a quarterback run number, it spreads the defense out a little bit.
You saw Taylen. I mean, he didn't have too many runs in the first half. Obviously, Sam was in there for a little bit. But the second half, I mean, he goes 2 straight runs on the read option, and it just seemed like from that point on, his confidence was through the roof. The defense had to, you know, defend 3 runners. I mean, did you notice kind of a shift once he started pulling the ball? Like, okay, this defense has a lot more on their plate.
Well, I mean, we see it. We see it at practice. We've seen it in practice, you know, and everyone else got to see it, you know, out there. In the first game of the year, he had a long run, you know, and so, but to answer your question, that brought energy into our team. That didn't bring energy just into the offense. That brought energy into the whole team. And more importantly, it gave the offense a rhythm that obviously Coach Koetter and the rest of the offense staff were able to work off of throughout the second half.
You mentioned Sam's deep pass.
Sorry, hold on real quick. What's that?
You mentioned Sam's deep pass. I mean,
Yeah.
that was maybe one of the most accurate passes thrown by a Boise State quarterback all year. How talented is Sam when it comes to throwing the ball?
His arm is he's got an extremely strong arm now. Like that was obvious there. I mean, he can throw it, you know, he can reach up to 60 yards off his back foot. And he is, again, he's a smart player. He is very bright, and he is when it comes to preparation as a quarterback, he's pretty elite. I mean, he spends the time. Him and Taylen are in there working, and that's why Sam will have a role. You know, Sam will have both these guys deserve roles. They're both great young men that have been true to the team and helping this team grow, and we're excited for both of them to help us move forward.
Back to DJ for a second. When I asked Shay about DJ last week, he said that it feels like DJ's the best on the team at being himself. In an era of college sports where the transfer portal allows guys to transfer and move on so freely they don't play, for a guy like DJ to stick it out and reap the benefits, how cool is that to see?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like DJ, whatever DJ does after football too, because of the person he is and who he is, he's gonna be successful. Because he's smart. Again, he's got a great personality. He has real confidence. It's not fake confidence. You know, and that is huge for our team. You know, he's a tremendous leader, not just for the defense, but he's a tremendous leader for our team overall.
What is real confidence?
Well, let's just say this, that like in life, sometimes the fake positives get put on blast real quick, and DJ is a guy that can handle a lot of different things, whether it's a mental, a physical, and you know, that's like we've spoken about, that's been developed over his time, how his parents raised him, and the things he's been able to do here with his experience.
And you've seen today, like, a lot of SMU players that played 4 games are sitting out for the rest of the season now. It's becoming a thing around the country. I mean, I know you don't want to get specific on players that left, but just in general, is this what the 4-game rule was meant to be?
No,
No,
I think you're right. It's one of those unintended consequences, and it's the you know, it's a combination. It's not one rule, but it's a bunch of them coming together, and the direction. And like anything else, you adapt. For us, we're very grateful that at most positions we have talented players, we have depth, and the biggest thing for us is that we continue to develop our guys, both as young men, obviously as football players, and they're getting a lot from us every single day. They're not just getting football. We don't just care about football here. I know we got to come up here with their standards to meet. We talk about football all the time. There's a lot more that goes into it, and I think at the end of the day, well, I know at the end of the day that that's what college sports is about. And wherever the new rules and moving schools and all that stuff changes the game, there is still the aspect of collegiate sports that the camaraderie, not only of the team, but the university, the athletic department. That's what makes college great.
And you guys have been against Mountain West QBs this year, that they're 11 of 44 for 131 yards against your defense. Why have you guys been so good against the pass so far?
Well, I'm going to say this. We're facing one of the most explosive pass offenses in the nation right now. So what we've learned from our first few games, whether it be in our conference or out of our conference, there's been games where we haven't played well in the pass game either. So it's about learning from those experiences where we weren't our best, learning from what we were when we were our best. And it's not just the coverage, it's the whole defense playing together. And it starts in the pre-snap and the communication and the things we're doing in the pre-snap. It's a lot easier to cover when you don't have to cover for a long time. The wide receivers we're going to face this week are tremendously talented. It is an unbelievable group, okay? And it brings a great challenge, not just for the secondary, but for our whole defense. And we're going to have a great week of practice.
Talk about some of the skill players for Fresno. They've got 3 or 4 really good receivers. Tim's a running back. How much talent, depth, skill do they have?
They got a lot of team speed, I mean, on all together, but on offense, I mean, Mims is shown to be extremely explosive in the run game. I mean, we've seen that for a few years now. Nico is at their slot, and he is obviously a big part of their return game as well. He's one of the leading returners in the nation, and his role within the offense, whether it's vertical route running, lateral screens and things like that, he gets the ball in his hands, he's explosive. And then you got all the wide receivers on the perimeter. So, yeah, there is a great challenge coming. This is a team, and this is a new week. This is a new week that we've got to be our best. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
After the game, Tyreek joked he's glad he's not an opposing offensive player in Albertsons Stadium due to the crowd noise. When you go, I know we asked about this after the game. When you go back and look, I mean, they really do dictate some of the things that go on for opposing offenses and put you in favorable situations. How much is that really helpful for you guys?
I mean, the Albertsons Stadium is one of the best venues in all of college football. And I don't say that because it's my alma mater and I coach here. I mean, it is Bronco Nation when they fill that thing up and they're loud. It is a home field advantage, and we're very grateful for that. Friday night was exceptional, and we're very grateful for our home crowd and our fans, and they come out and the way they support, and we're looking forward to having them do it again. I mean, that's a big part of who we are here, is the support from Bronco Nation, and the players feed off of that too. Okay, they do, and I think it goes hand in hand with our fan base over the course of the years, deep into the tradition, not just the most recent, but deep into the tradition of what it means to be a part of Bronco Nation and to be a part of this state, to be a part of this valley. And I'll be honest with you too, the amount of people that come into town on a game weekend.
Andy, sometimes you don't show a ton of emotion on the sidelines. We saw you after one of those false starts, like, really getting the crowd pumped up and stuff. What got Andy at that moment, I guess, or what was the reason there for why you were so pumped up?
Just having fun, man. The crowd's having fun. It's exciting to see. I mean, that's what it is. It's our team and it's our fan base. That's us working together, and it's fun to see. It's exciting to be on the field too. That never gets old.
Andy, this football program has been through so many highs and lows so far this season. You use the word consistency a lot. How do you coach consistency moving forward here with this team now?
So it starts with our plan as coaches. It starts how we every week's a new week, okay? But it's not a new process. That's the consistency in the players' understanding. There's more guys up there watching film. Usually it wouldn't have been till a Monday night. There's already guys on a Monday morning up in there watching film on their opponent. There are guys that are building their routines that create consistency. They've seen what happens when they invest. We've also seen what happens when we don't, Mike. We've been on both sides of that fence. What are the things that we can do that are really simple, that we can do really well in terms of our preparation? That's where the consistency starts. That's where the real confidence is built, through our preparation and how we work together throughout the week. We all individually got our own roles, we got our own jobs. Everybody underneath this roof has a job, and we got to find the great joy and the pride and the fun in doing that well.
Do you have a good read on that, and do you feel like you've gone past the highs and the low stage, and this football program for the next 6 weeks beyond can be consistent and level?
We determine that. And do I have a good feel from our team and their want to? Yeah. It's like we told you guys last week, we believe in this team. We believe in these guys. We love these guys. They're fun to be around. When you work really hard and you invest into something, you obviously want to get a return on your investment. And so we've got to continue to stay committed to the investments that it's going to take for us to be consistent. And again, that doesn't start on game day. That starts on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
How did Saturday's post-game locker room scene compared to other victories? Did it seem like it was a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. The guys, we all know what it was last week. And for those guys to stay together and fight even harder for each other, that's why we do what we do. That's why we put the work in for them to help them be as successful as they can. And, you know, as much as the locker room and all that stuff from last week, again, that was last week, but even more so to be able to see them on the field, you know, in that second half last week, that was the treat, to be able to see them do the things they did out there in their stadium. Now, again, that's all last week. That's not just going to happen this week. It's a new opponent that is going to come in here very hungry, and we've got to work our tails off this week to prepare for the challenge that's coming.
What are your thoughts through 5 games on your wide receivers? I mean, you know, there's a lot of external factors, and you know, other people have to do their job, but they haven't had a ton of production yet this season. How does that change?
Well, it's just we've talked about that already. You know, there's a new coordinator in place, and that's the part of the process of building and growing. And I'm very confident in those guys. Those guys work hard, and that shows how selfless they are too, and the way they were blocking the other night. When you put that much hard work into something and you're talented, it will come in time. Things don't always come, unfortunately, as fast as you would want it, but with the direction we are going, obviously there is an emphasis to get those guys more opportunities, not just the wide receivers, the tight ends, you know, and that whole piece.
The running game has been inconsistent this year, but it looked unstoppable in the second half last week. Was Taylen Green the missing link to that running game?
Again, you add in a quarterback run number, it's always challenging on defenses. So, you know, now it's about where do we go from here? How do we stay ahead of what the next opponent's going to do? Because they have the film, and again, they got really good coaches, they got really good players. So it's how do we stay ahead of it, and how do we move forward and build?
Ashton Jensen's almost halfway through his first season of college football. What has been the most impressive thing about him, and how explosive is he?
Well, I mean, number one, he's a true freshman, so to be able to see a guy, you know, through the first half of the season just be consistent week to week, that's what makes it hard. There's guys that come into college that are really talented, but it takes a certain level of maturity. And like we were talking about a second ago, consistency. That, I mean, I know as a freshman and going into college way back when, I remember I had to learn. You guys all probably had to figure that out too when you went to college. You're away from home for the first time. It's not just playing football. There's a lot of other things that go into it. And we talk about all the time. I know you guys don't get to see all those things and how these young men are growing and how they're handling themselves, which we care deeply about as a staff and as a program. And it's just an example for him, is his level of maturity, his consistency, and then, you know, he's very talented. And it's the bottom line. Is there a lot of things that he needs to keep getting better at and learn? Yeah, we all have those things, but he's extremely talented, and we're looking forward to seeing him continue to grow.
Last question. One thing I remember about Khalil last year, if you watched him on the sideline, he was all over. Like, he would go to the defensive line group, and he wasn't just like with the wide receivers or even the offense. And notice JL the other night, like, he was over with the offensive lineman at one point. He was the first guy to greet Taylen Green coming off the field. Like, I don't know if that was just coincidence or not, but I don't know, have you noticed that with Jalen, or excuse me, with JL, and how maybe his leadership has grown?
I noticed it with a lot of guys the other night, and that's the guys coming together and supporting each other and showing their confidence that they have in each other, and that's showing each other that they have each other's back and that they're in it together. And obviously, where we go forward with that is everything, because it is about them. It is all about our players. Everything we do is for them, to continue to help them grow, to help them find ways to thrive individually and obviously collectively as a team. Good. Thank you, guys. It's cold in here, man. BJ, number 19 in the nation. What did they hit? Was it 19?
I think so, yeah.
How about that, man? Is it the first time ever? Oh, game day's coming? Yeah. That's going to be a good game, man. 5-0. 5-0, man. How about that?
5-0, 5-0.
No question. No question. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are having a good start to the week. So let's keep rolling.
I guess the first question is, we just did a 30-minute press conference and we talked about defense for like 30 seconds. Pump up the defense, I guess. I mean, he obviously played a big role on Saturday night. The star of the night was the offense, but what role did you see this defense contributing to that victory?
Yeah. What was it? It was just a great team win. You know, I'm really proud of our team coming together like they did. And I mean, honestly, seeing a couple of our players after the game, just tears in their eyes, just finally the hard work that they've put in, finally seeing it come to fruition with a good team win. And so obviously there's a lot of things that we're excited to grow as the whole team, all three phases. But I mean, it choked me up on the, you know, walking down from the box and being on the field, seeing our guys, tears in their eyes, just because finally they're like, man, the work they put in all this time to finally be able to get a really good win on the blue. Just did my heart a ton of joy, and really proud of how our guys are playing. Still a lot to clean up defensively, but our guys are playing hard. I mean, every game we played in, like, these guys are playing their tails off. Now we've got to grow in a lot of different things, but I'm excited where we're going, and I know our guys are too. So from across the board, there's a lot to grow in. And I told the defense the same thing yesterday. I'm proud of how hard our guys are playing. They're playing it relentless. Now we just got to continue to clean and grow things up week to week. And you always want to get better week to week, and that's what we're focused on. There's a long list of what that is. But I'm proud of our guys, man. I love coaching this group. It's a great group of guys. We got a great staff, and it's excited to see them fly around the field the way they are and doing it in a disciplined way.
We're talking about a guy like DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Shea Oladipo said last week he's the best guy on the team at being himself.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's waited his time in an era in college sports where guys transfer out.
No question.
How cool is it to see him stay and that pay off for him?
It just, I mean, he's a phenomenal young man, and I bet if you took a poll of all our players, he'd be one of everyone's favorite player. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can be on offense, defense. You just love being around DJ because he's always got some joke, always something to talk about. Like, he's just an engaging guy. And to your point, Jay, I mean, he's paid his dues. And even last year, backing up Zeke, you know, got some good run, but not even close to the extent he did now. And in the offseason was not the guy coming to my office, Coach, I want to play more. Coach, I should be starting. The move to move him to Will was something we talked about as a staff because of how he just kept prepping and training and the play he had. And it's like, we got to get this guy in to be one of the starting 11. But all he does is work. From how he preps, he's probably up there right now studying film, saying, I mean, that's just who he is. No different when he's in the classroom. He gets great grades because that's, as a competitor, you don't know how to turn it off, right? If I'm in class, I'm going to do a really good job in this class I'm in. If you're on the football field prepping for a game, it's going to be the same. And so it just does my heart a ton of joy because I love DJ. I love all these kids, but DJ is just a phenomenal young man. Seeing him, the hard work that he's put in, and he's been a warrior this year. I mean, he plays a ton, and we put him all over the place, and he lives in that training room, and he gets his body ready to go show up on game day. And still's got a lot that he can improve on and grow in, and no one wants to improve that more than himself, right? He's up there finding a way to continue to take steps.
Did he have a chance last year to maybe take one of those starting jobs or get some starts, or did he really just make that much progress this offseason?
He made a big jump this offseason, but he was a good player last year. I mean, there was not a lot of drop-off at all when DJ would come in. He played a good amount, but just with Riley and Zeke, those were two guys that played a lot of football at that point, and DJ played as well, but just that was the rotation we had last year. And in the offseason, he had a great offseason, and so he just kept taking steps, and now he's able to – well, everyone's able to kind of see what DJ can do now, but it's not all of a sudden lightning struck and DJ is just making these plays. Like, he works his tail off since he walked on campus 5 years ago. Like, that's who DJ Schramm is, and he's low ego, high output in everything he does. Doesn't look for anybody to point the finger. He's always telling people how great they are. Hey, coach, great play. I'm like, no, DJ, that's a great tackle, right? That's you making the play. Like, he's just that guy. I mean, he's humble and hungry, which we talk about with our team. That's him.
What are the Boneyard Boys?
I can't speak to it. It's a
The BYB is something that our group's kind of come up for the past couple years, and it's something that it's like Fight Club. I got to pretend like I don't know what you're talking about, Jay. Next question.
You guys have been so good against the pass this season. Opposing Mountain West quarterbacks through 2 games are 11 of 44 for 131 yards. I know the test this week's going to be more, a stiffer challenge.
Oh, yeah.
Why have you guys been so good, and how will that apply to this week?
Yeah, I mean, across the board, it's just our guys really finding ways how to prep and do a really good job with understanding, okay, how are we being attacked? And we're going to be attacked differently than maybe a different defense is from an offense. Obviously, every offense has their bones of who they are and what they want to be, but our guys are doing a phenomenal job with how they prep. And I say this every week, and I mean this is, defense plays with confidence or they don't play with confidence is created through how a team handles their prep from Sunday to kickoff. And there's still ways we're trying to fine-tune and find better ways to do it, but our guys are doing it at a high level right now in how they practice and how they prep. So when they go on the field, they can understand the hash split rules and what's coming. And at the end of the day, they're doing a good job playing hard, and when you play hard, you can make plays because you're around the football. And we talk a lot, production's at the ball. And guys are getting to the football, we're finishing plays, and so good things happen. And so in regards to the pass, and it's putting our guys in situations and calls that they're very comfortable on. And they have a huge part in it in regards to understanding, okay, this is our plan against these guys, and this is how we're going to be attacked. So they know that. And we have a back end, we have a group where they can handle that. They can handle, okay, this is the weakness in this coverage, this is the strength in these coverages, and this is how we can disguise and do some certain things to help us out. But hats off to our players in a lot of different ways, but the biggest thing for me is just how they're prepping and how hard they're playing. There's a lot to clean up. There's a lot of things that we need to take a big step in, but it brings tears to my eyes because I love these kids and seeing them, how hard they go out there and play, no matter what the situation is, where we're out in the field. I love these guys.
With Fresno State, and I guess they just announced Haener's out again, what are you seeing from their offense without Haener?
Yeah, they have a group of probably one of the best group of skills that we've seen all year. One of the best. From receivers to tailbacks, the backup quarterback number 10 that played obviously just the end of the SC game and then against UConn. He's a good player. Seeing him operate the game at the end of the USC game. Obviously they ran into some issues against UConn, but he's a good player. They got speed at every receiver spot. They got really good tight ends, and honestly, I think Coach Tedford and Coach Moore are some of the best offensive minds, around. To be honest, when we've had battles against them back when Tedford was there from 17, 18, and they will always find ways to attack what you do defensively, and that's what it's always tough going against them because they're gonna be combing through all our film to see, okay, how can we attack these guys? What are some weaknesses? They're not just gonna go out there and just, all right, we're gonna do the same old. They do a great job finding weaknesses, and so it's gonna be a test for us. Every time we play Fresno State, it's obviously a monster game for us. But even defensively speaking, they always create a bunch of issues that we got to be ready to attack.
The fall starts. The crowd's been tremendous.
Tremendous.
This season. What does that do for you as a defensive coordinator? Obviously, the yardage, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But in addition to that, Spencer, how big
it is, and Boise Nation has been unbelievable. It's 7 false starts, I believe, this last game, and I could even be off on that. It's a absolute game changer. Not only just, to your point, not only just the 5 yards, but it's the confidence builder. You see the rest of our guys get into it and I think it breeds a we are in this together feeling, not only from, the fans are on the field with our guys on defense when they're out there, and talking with our players, they absolutely, it just juices him up. Scott Matlock is one of his favorite things to do when he sees. He's just he's like, I'm a part of this thing, and that's what you love about this game. And that's what you love about playing in Boise, Idaho, where these fans are phenomenal and they love this team. They want this team to be successful, and they came out and they've been in a strong way. But it's a huge advantage for us, and it's an advantage that we're going to continue to need going forward.
How often does it allow you to change what you're going to do or call? Are there 5 yards to be a lot depending on the down
Oh, yeah.
distance? So what is your initial reaction? And are there situations where you go, I can dial this up now?
No question. Then there are some situations in the game, and you go from 3rd and 2 to 3rd and 7. That's way different. and being able to then get in situations where, okay, this is a 50-50 down for him, run pass. Now it's obviously more favored to the pass, and it changes the game. And especially even early on a drive, you're going from 1st and 10 to 1st and 15, same thing, different situation now. And so we can get to some things that you wouldn't be able to get to if it was just 1st and 10. I think it just for an offense having to operate with that kind of noise at that level when you need to be operating obviously at a precise level, it's a huge asset for us, and it's complete hats off to our fans and our players buying and thriving. And it's something that when we talk about protecting the blue, like, we know what that means. And we do not take that lightly. I know our players don't. That we know when our fans come, they expect us to defend that blue, and we will.
You guys were just fantastic inside the red zone. Even, heck, it was almost within the 5. Aside from effort and intensity, because that's going to be heightened around there, what do you do as a play caller to get your guys in the right position with the end zone so close?
Yeah, at the end of the day, once again, hats off to our players. It's them executing it. It's them understanding where they're at in the field. So 100% it's all our players. They understand that where they're at, where we're being attacked. And my goal more times than anything is just put them in situations where they can be successful, from calls where they can operate and make plays. And at the end of the day, that's what they do, guys. It's them understanding that we use the mentality down there 3 or nothing. It doesn't matter why or how we got down there. It's either a mistake we made on defense, could be special teams, could be an interception, but we use the mentality. It's 3 or nothing. A team gets in the red zone, we are going to hold them to a field goal or 0, and that's what we strive to do every time we're down there. But no, hats off to our players. It's them executing, it's them finding ways to finish those drives and hold them to a field goal.
Selflessness fit into a good defense? And I look at a play where Tarlos gets the sack and you guys stunned under Matlock. And, people as talented as Scott probably would just want to go after the quarterback.
Yeah.
But where does that kind of selflessness fit in? And then you get George on a little running back on that play.
Yeah. Well, Jay, it's everything on defense. That's why I love coaching defense, because we don't. I don't make play calls. There's not a play call so Spencer Danielson can get this sack or this guy can get an interception. Now, there's certain calls that will move the stress to where someone might be in a better situation, but it's everybody's play to make when the ball's snapped. And so, but creating, a defense, the only way it can work is with guys that are selfless and get to the football, and because the second one guy doesn't do his job and all he's trying to do is make a play, you are 100% going to leave your brother hanging out to dry. Could be in the pass game, run game, whatever it is. And if egos creep in, and what I mean by egos is I just want to make a play just so I can get the credit, you're not going to be good on defense. Now, it's something you always fight, because ego is something that you're always working to make sure that you handle, but it's also having a defense that's that close. I think this is one of the closest groups that we've had, so no different if maybe I'm not the one that made that sack, but I'm so excited for my brother that he made it, because I know the work he put in. I was with him when he ran those decks. I know the work he's done or the injuries he's come back from to be in this situation. I think not perfect, but I think we've got a lot of that across our defense right now, where it's a group of 11 guys on the field that are going to hunt that ball, and they're going to be very excited if it's them or someone else makes the play, because they know the work that's been put into to get in that situation. But you need to. That's where the humble and hungry is for our whole team, but especially on defense, because if you don't do your job, you're going to leave someone hanging out to dry. Good, bad, indifferent, it's not going to be a good thing for us. And so making sure that our guys understand, if you do your job, plays are going to come to you. Plays are going to come to your brother. And at the end of the day, you don't want to be a good player on a bad defense. I tell them that. You want to be a good player on an elite defense, which takes all 11 guys doing their job selflessly to get the job done. That's what it is. And living on that razor's edge, because it can be good in the first half, good in the second, or good in the second quarter, good in the third quarter. You have a bad fourth quarter, you're going to lose the football game. And so it's just that razor's edge where guys that you have to always be on and ready to respond to whatever's coming, because if you ease into things, you're not going to play good defense, and you're going to obviously give up stuff you shouldn't.
You know what makes a good offense just from watching the film every week. What has made Dirk Koetter, why is he such a great offensive mind and a great play caller?
Yeah, Coach Koetter's resume speaks for himself. The times I've been around him, and I can't speak to the exact game plans and how they got done what they did on Friday, but I just know I'm very excited about what they did. It was awesome to see. Just our team win was really what got me excited. I mean, you go. Defense got to, start the second half. We get an interception, and then 2 plays later, it's boom, boom. And just seeing our sideline, the fans erupt, it was just, once again, brings tears to my eyes because it's just seeing them like the work paid off. But to your question with Coach Koetter, I mean, he's coached so much football, understands how to attack defenses and how to use his personnel he has and use their strengths. And obviously that showed up in the game, and I can only bet that it's only going to improve and get better because he's only been at the helm for now, 9 days, and so just excited where it's going, and I know our staff and our players are as well.
Andy was pretty open about the fact that Sam was going to be part of the game plan moving forward. As a DC, how tough is it to prepare for 2 quarterbacks, especially 2 that have very different skill sets like Taylen and Sam? Oh,
no doubt. I mean, looking at what they put on film against San Diego State, I mean, it's going to be a lot to game plan because you obviously got to – and Taylen can throw the ball well too. I mean, he can throw the ball a mile, and then you got Sam who hit that big-time shot across the middle, and both of them are phenomenal young men. They're going to prep their tails off. So it's going to be a lot to game plan for, and I know Coach Cutter's dialing some stuff in, and as I know he will be doing. So it'll be tough, and especially with the weapons you have at running back and on the outside, it's going to be tough to game plan. And I know just as a whole group they're going to do a good job getting a good plan together. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Just a reminder to silence your phones during press conferences. Thank you, DJ.
That's why a lot of people ask, like, hey, how much time?
He hasn't done a BSU press conference in 22 years. He doesn't know where to go.
He's over in the varsity center.
He's under the racquetball courts on the east side bleachers looking for the reading.
That's a lot of talent out in Fresno. A lot of talent.
I wonder if that 9 is already considering
Oh,
that.
I'm going to guess yes. That's Jay Koetter, he comes from mine. He got a personal chef in the off season. He said he also got a meal plan for Dante Bowles left tackle because he wanted to turn down. I can't remember I think it was Logan Bonner from Utah State. I was joking around with him. I was like, "Do you have a meal plan for your?" Or I said, asked him if he had a personal chef. He goes, "What?" And I guess talking with Jay Koetter, he got a personal chef this off season. He goes, "No, I do not have a personal chef." Well, after that, 7th year in college. Bonner. He went for 7th year.
Better of a PhD.
Is there any way you can get an 8th year right now?
guess maybe Crowdsource isn't a sponsor. Hi, how we doing? What you got?
What did it feel like to be back on the sidelines calling plays?
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. It was weird coming out of the wrong. Seemed like I was coming out of the wrong tunnel there. But once they're out there, the crowd was awesome, and you kind of forget how much the crowd plays a part in Boise State home games, and definitely played a part in that game. They were great. It's loud. It's loud down there even when we have the ball, let alone when the other team has the ball.
You were mostly retired just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, what's it like now to be back in the back in the driver's seat and dealing with all the day-to-day stuff? And what convinced you to come back?
That's a complicated question. Well, I was just kind of helping out before. Like I wasn't full time at all. I was around here, and basically I got to know some of the guys. But my son plays here, of course, so getting to know the players, getting to know the coaches. So, when Andy asked me to do it, I knew it was going to be a big lifestyle change, because in this business you're kind of all in or all out. And I was definitely riding the fence on all out, mostly out. And so, why did I do it? I did it because I felt like I could maybe make a difference and maybe help, and feel an obligation to the program, definitely feel an obligation to Andy and the coaches and the players that I know, and I don't know all of them, an obligation to them.
Dirk, you had 6 days to do what you wanted to do and get this offense ready for a game. What did you want to change or address immediately that would put you guys in a position to have success last Friday?
Everybody has observations of a team that they're not on the inside of. And again, going back to, I was kind of inside and outside, but I wasn't going on the road for road trips, so I was watching those games on TV. I was hearing what the announcers were saying. I was still playing golf 3 days a week, so I was hearing what people on the street were saying. And there's some truth in what's being said, and there's some fallacy in what's being said. And I just the main thing was just that as an offense, that offense was underachieving in the first few games, and no team wants to underachieve. I mean, I learned a long time ago that all you can ask of a players, of unit, a team, is to achieve up to their talent level, and that. The offense was not doing that, and we didn't do that in the first half last week either. But if this group of players just achieves up to their level of talent, the rest of it will take care of itself.
With the short time that you had last week, in terms of the X's and O's and getting this offense ready for one game on Friday night, what were your priorities?
Well, my priorities were, the terminology was just way different. And again, I was here some, so I knew a little bit of it. And along those lines, just in general, the offensive coaching staff did a great job of helping. Like, they did a great job of coaching, organizing, teaching me, making adjustments at halftime. Those guys did an awesome job. I can't thank those guys enough for that. We found out the day after. My days got kind of mixed up there, but originally thought that the quarterback situation might have been different. Once the quarterback situation became clear that it was going to be two guys that hadn't played very much, at that point, as a quarterback guy, I'm thinking, what can those guys handle? So you're trying to narrow it down. If a guy that's got a lot of experience versus two guys with very little experience, don't try to do too much. And how do we attack San Diego State, yet give them enough different looks, and not screw ourselves up in the process.
From the start of the game until the end of the game, where do you think Green improved the most?
Oh, I think he just calmed down. I think he was a little nervous, and rightfully so. heck, I was a little nervous too. So, you know, when we knew going into the game that we were going to play Sam some, and Taylen was aware that we were going to put Sam in the game, and I had no idea how that game was going to go, what direction it was. So I'm pretty sure those guys didn't either. And you know, we struggled on offense early. You know, like we got a little bit of a movement that first drive, and then we threw the interception. And you know, that's not how you want to start. Our defense bailed us out multiple times there in that first half. The fact that we were only down 13 is probably, you know, to be able to go in the locker room and say, hey, we're just down 2 scores. Now, I know with the way we'd been playing, 2 scores seemed like 20 scores. But, you know, the other thing is because we were so poor or we ran so few plays, I mean, you guys see a call sheet. We try to keep our numbers of plays down, but if you're not running any plays, you're not finding that rhythm you're looking for. You're not finding what's working because we kept going 3 and out or turning over or get a penalty or something. In the second half, the biggest difference was we found what worked and we just kept doing it until that we, you know, you do anything until they stop it. And we were basically on a 5-play rotation and they couldn't stop it.
What have you learned about Taylen and the time you guys have worked together? And same question about Sam.
What have I learned about them?
Yes.
That they're both awesome kids, very willing to learn, very willing to listen. You know, so technique-wise, I mean, if I was starting from scratch, there would be some stuff on both of them I would try to fix. But that's one thing about me having experience in the NFL is I'm a lot looser on some of that than I was when I was a college coach. When I was a college coach, hey, we're doing it this way. I just can't fix some of that, or fix isn't the right word. I can't ask those guys to change some of those things right now because we got to get ready to play games. But really impressed with all the quarterbacks in the room, being willing to listen, being willing to learn. This offense does put a lot on the quarterback. We try to take some of that off, but you know, defenses are just much more sophisticated today. Our own defense is a perfect example of that. I mean, the quarterback has to be able to operate at the line of scrimmage.
How do you, from the first time you met Taylen on and off the football field, what was your first impressions and how would you describe the evolution of your relationship all the way up until the 3-minute, 5-minute conversation you had at halftime on Friday night?
Yeah, freakish athlete. I mean, you could see that right off the bat. I mean, Davis came home one day last year and, you know, they wear those GPS things and told me Taylen was the fastest guy on the team. And, you know, when you think of a guy that's at least 6'5", whatever he is, 210 or whatever he is, and the fastest guy on the team, that's pretty impressive because there's some fast guys out there. The other thing, I just think that from last spring to where Taylen came into fall camp, he did some work over the summer. Like he made a big jump between spring and summer because, you know, I kind of thought Sam might beat him out for the number 2 spot, but Taylen definitely played better than Sam in fall camp, in training camp. Now Sam, after the season started, Sam was on the scout team, and Sam started getting better again. He started playing more like he did in spring. You know, just Taylen, I go back to just his willingness to learn and listen. And, you know, Taylen sees himself. He sees those guys in the NFL. I mean, he's not a dummy. And so he knows that to get where he wants to get long term, he's going to have to improve in some areas.
Describe that, maybe that halftime conversation was as simple as just keep the damn ball and run, or
no. That would have been a good coaching point, but that's not what it was. Well, I mean, again, I think the quarterbacks were first wondering who was going to play in the third quarter, and we just said, hey, we're going to start back with Taylen, and Sam will probably go back in, and that was the plan. But the way things unfolded, you know, there wasn't really an opportunity to sub it again. But I think Coach Avalos probably has already mentioned. I mean, we're planning on using both guys from here on out, and I don't know what that looks like. That could be a week-to-week thing, and you know, we'll just see how that goes.
Kind of sitting over on the fence and thinking about this. I mean, you're 9 days in now. You're back in the grind of it. I mean, are you happy you did this? You having fun again? And I kind of say this jokingly, but when it was almost halftime and it wasn't going well in the first half, were you kind of wondering what you got yourself into?
Yeah, I was looking up my wife in the loge and thinking about drinking a Coors Light or something. No, I mean, the grind part of coaching is real. And I mean, this is year 40 for me doing it. And that's why I wasn't doing it anymore, because I'd had enough. But this is a short-term endeavor, and you know, I can do my part, and asking those guys to do theirs, and they did that last week. They did a good job.
Kind of another way of asking that, I guess. I mean, we've asked you about the why. You've been in this game for 40 years. Talking with Davis last year, he loves the game because it's all your family. For this to potentially be like your last time where you're involved in football in this capacity, what does that mean to you? And you mentioned this is a short term. Is it just a couple month thing that you're providing help for this?
Yes, it's just short term.
100%.
This is a young man's game. All right, this is a young man's game. These guys, if you knew how hard these guys work with the whole recruiting thing, transfer portal, NIL. I mean, this is a young man's game, and I'm not a young man.
Dirk, how do you feel? It's the first time you've been a part of college victory since '06. I know in the NFL it feels like a relief sometimes when you win. You don't have time to process it. What was it like for you in the locker room, hugging people, enjoying that win?
Well, I really enjoyed watching the pure joy and smiles on the players and coaches' faces. I really enjoyed that. I mean, I hadn't seen that in a long time, because the NFL is not like that. I mean, the singing the fight song, and they have a lot of rituals here that they have a lot of rituals that they do that are pretty cool that I hadn't seen. I really enjoyed watching that, but the coach part of me was already thinking about what next week was going to bring. You know, that you enjoy it, you know, 24-hour rule, win or lose for 24 hours, and then you're back on it.
What did you do to make this offense more simple for Taylen on, only 6 days or whatever?
Well, all of the plays that we ran in that game, give or take, were already in the system. They just have a lot of plays, and that's what training camp is for. You install a lot of stuff, and you might, let's just use 150 things, and then you pull out of that library what you're going to use that week. So some of those plays that we're seeing just might not have been the best fit with the previous quarterback, and so Taylen hadn't played that much. So, when Taylen went in the Oregon State game, most of his big plays were just him scrambling around, and then he made a couple nice throws down the field. So now these were more designed read plays. They'd practiced them before, going all the way back to spring and training camp. And then, as I said before, the reason I didn't know they were going to work that good. I didn't know that. For all I know, that would have looked. We were trying to find it in the first half. We were mixing. We were trying to go our play action, our run game, our three-step. We were trying to do all that stuff.
So on that read, is it just Taylen looking at the one defensive end and deciding if he's going to keep it in the belly of the running back or pull it? Is all it is?
That's one variation. There's some different variations of it. That's one place where college football. Wow, I mean, trust me, I'm learning every day. That's not my area of expertise, and that's where, again, I'm going to go back to the offensive coaches. What an awesome job they did adjusting and adding it. It's just, after we found it, we stayed with it. And there's different variations. We have more variations. We haven't shown all of our variations, and part of that's based on what kind of defense you're playing against. Okay, you guys have a great one.
Nice vacation at the end of the year?
Not much on my salary.